Well, welcome along or welcome back, everybody, to Circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Spain for round 7 of the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, the Elite Pro Division, heading out onto circuit. Apologies for a few little small technical issues, a little bit late to being able to talk to you. This fairly new facility was built in 1999 by the government of Valencia and is named in honour of Ricardo Tormo, the two-time 50cc motorcycle world champion who was a native of Valencia. We've seen plenty of Spanish success here on two wheels with the likes of Dani Pedrosa and Jorge Lorenzo claiming wins. We've seen plenty of success in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series as well, with Ander Villarino returning to the championship this weekend. He is a man who will want to try and return towards victory lane as well. He's been sidelined by the COVID-19 pandemic. He's a 3-times champion, finally making his debut for DF1 Racing here. He's won 6 races at his home track out of the 8 starts, so he could be one to watch. So EuroNASCAR Pro heading out there. Alan Day sits atop of the championship standings, and as they make their way around this circuit, let's just have a look at the circuit. So the Circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Valencia is 4 kilometers long, which is just under 2.5 miles long, and it has a mixture of very fast straights, a 650 metre straight. It's got a nice combination of both left and right-handed corners as well, with 5 right-handed corners and 8 left-handed corners. And it's almost in a natural bowl as well. We don't have any spectators here, which is such a shame for this weekend, but with the stadium-style grandstand seating, it can seat up to 120,000 spectators. So 14 key turns to it. The first one, which is Aspar, is a very, very quick corner. Overtaking opportunities, though, at turn number 2, which is Dewan. You can overtake through sort of 10 if you gear it up to get into towards 11, but also turn number 14, which is Adrian Campos, is another good overtaking opportunity. So that gives you an indication to what Circuit Ricardo Tormo looks like, and it's largely always played host to the opening rounds of the championship. It should have been the opening round for this year, but with the rescheduling of so many sports events this year, it's ultimately become the final round, but a different final round. It's day 1 of Speed Week. Now, we are racing here today, we're racing tomorrow, and we're racing on Sunday. There are usually 4 races for 4 races in total over the course of the weekend. We've got 8 to slot in this weekend, which means the Elite Pros, which are just coming, EuroNASCAR Pro, I should say, as it's rebadged for this year, just coming onto the grid. Their first 2 races of the weekend, round 7 and round 8 of the championship, are the final normal point scoring rounds. So 40 points for a win, 35 per second, and so on it descends. But when we get to tomorrow afternoon and the races on Sunday, then those are the finals. So it's double championship points. So race 1 and 2 for each category this weekend, standard points. Race 3 and 4 for each category this weekend, double championship points. Champions to crown. Andre Weigel is down on the grid. We're hoping to catch up with a few of the drivers as and when they all line up there on the grid. But I want to just have a look at the championship points at the moment and see what's been going on in terms of the championship, because the car that sits there on pole position, Alan Day, they're the EuroNASCAR 2 points there, so we'll ignore those for the moment. We'll hopefully get up the EuroNASCAR Pro points, because that's the race that we had this morning. Alan Day leads the championship standings on 214 points. Now, he has qualified on pole position here. He has started from the pole before, but that was in the second race of a weekend, i.e. he set the fastest lap in race 1, which gave him pole for race 2. He has never qualified on pole position here before through a qualifying session, so it is his first time starting, having been top of the qualifying times. He leads the championship on 214 points, which is 14 points ahead of the number 66 car of Lasse Sorensen. But that's all for the moment. I'll guide you through some more championship points. I'm going to hand downstairs onto the grid, where Andre Weigel has managed to catch up with some of the drivers.
Lasse Sorensen, you are the top chaser in the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship this season. What's your strategy for today?
It's all about getting a lot of points to be pretty ready for the finals on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm gonna get as much points as possible here for this race, and for sure, if the possibility comes, I'm gonna attack. That's 100% sure.
You missed this rounds last year when you were on your way to the 2019 EuroNASCAR 2 Championship. Your first race at Valencia. Do you like the track?
Yeah, it's a beautiful track, and it's really nice to drive on. I didn't get as much laps in practice as I wanted, so right now it's still a learning progress for me, but I'm sure we'll just get better and better during the weekend.
Thank you very much, good luck, and back to Mark.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, he'll try and catch up with a few more drivers down there. Lasse Sorensen, second in the championship, has had a win so far this year. That came in the first of the two races at Solder. Third in the championship is another junior driver. Junior drivers in this category are those aged under 25 at the beginning of the season. It's Gianmarco Ercoli. And fourth in the championship standings is the reigning champion from EuroNASCAR Pro, Loris Hazemans. There are the championship standings. So Alan Day from Lasse Sorensen, from Gianmarco Ercoli, Loris Hazemans, and Stinis Longines is fifth. Now, all of those drivers in the top five have all claimed a win so far this year. We've had 6 races. We've had 5 different winners. The only double winner is the man who leads the championship, Alan Day, on 214 points. He also claimed with his win at Grobnik jointly the overall wins category, so 22 career wins for both himself and Ander Villarino, both of whom are on the grid here this weekend. Former winners here, well, in EuroNASCAR Pro 2, only 2 former race winners are on the grid, Ander Villarino and Alan Day. But drivers that have won in EuroNASCAR 2 and have now stepped up that have had wins, Tomo Ferrando's claimed a couple, Stinis Longines has claimed a couple, Gianmarco Ercoli's claimed a win, and Giorgio Maggi have claimed wins. So we've got various winners that are stepping up to this category who have claimed wins at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. So they're the point standings. Andre, I'm sure, is going to catch up with some other drivers down there on the grid. And who is that we are looking at? It's Loris Hazemans. Just managed to spot the crash helmet. Loris Hazemans is there. So let's just guide you through the grid then and tell you the way that they will line up, because we will very shortly be heading towards the national anthems, and then very quickly, shortly thereafter, the rolling lap. So it is number 24, Alan Day, that starts from pole position. Alongside him is number 54, which is Gianmarco Ercoli. That car there, Loris Hazemans, lines up on the inside of the second row of the grid with his Hendricks prepared Ford. And alongside is the driver we've just heard from, Lasse Sorensen. So there's Alan Day's car, the black and the green. Alongside is the yellow and the black of Gianmarco Ercoli. So Loris Hazemans and Lasse Sorensen on row number 2. The third row of the grid is number 11, Stinis Longines, alongside number 98, which is Mark Goossens. He lies 6th in the championship standings, Mark Goossens, and has had seconds and thirds and fourths, but hasn't had a win as yet so far this year. Could his fortunes change here? The next row of the grid is row number 4. That's where we see the 33 car of Luca Lasser alongside 22, which is Nicola Rocca. And row 5 of the grid is number 7, making his debut in the championship, the 21-year-old Dutchman, Olivier Hart, who, despite the fact he's only 21, has already claimed a podium at the Bathurst 12 Hours. Comes from a racing family as well. His father, David, raced at the likes of Le Mans and Spa 24 Hour and did FIA GT. So it's great to have Olivier Hart here. But he's non-championship scoring this weekend on row number 5. Alongside is number 18, which is Giorgio Maggi. The 6th row of the grid, Francesco Cini, number 12 for Solaris Motorsport, alongside number 99, the reliveried car for this weekend, Justin Kuntz. Row 7 is Mauro Trioni and 89, Davide Dorara. Row 8 is Patrick Lamery and Alberto Panebianco. Row 9, Yevgen Sokolovsky and Mirko Schultis, with Ander Villarino and Tomo Ferrando on row number 11. And Dario Karsner will be starting from the pit lane. The national anthems play at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. So the Spanish national anthem plays on the lead into our 7th round of the EuroNASCAR Pro Division of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. The spotters are in their positions, ready to instruct the drivers that will be shortly heading around the circuit. Remember, if you're watching us, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well at youtube.com/EuroNASCAR is the YouTube channel. And if you click to ensure that you are notified when there is additional content, you will automatically be notified with that. So the crew members now leaving the grid, and the drivers will be instructed very shortly with those infamous words to fire the engines into life, and then the sound of Ricardo Turmo will reverberate to 5.7 litre V8 400 brake horsepower engines. There are a few drivers that are non-championship scoring this weekend because it is their first outing of the year. The likes of the number 7 Hendrix Ford, that's in the hands of Olivier Hart, non-championship scoring this weekend. The number 10, not only Motorsport Chevrolet Camaro of the Italian driver Alberto Panebianco, is also non-championship scoring, and number 48, he might have been the most successful driver here with 6 overall wins previously, but the 41-year-old Spaniard and the Villarino, who is a 3-times champion, is non-scoring this weekend because it is his first outing. So those are the 3 drivers that, come the totting up of the championship points, will be forgotten about in the nicest possible way. So anybody below them will move up a position ahead of them. So they're invisible in terms of championship scoring. But should they finish on a respective podium, they will be allowed to enjoy the celebrations on the podium. So for EuroNASCAR Pro, we've got the overall category. We've got the junior category, which is for drivers aged under 25 years of age. And we've also got the Challenger Trophy. And the Challenger Trophy is for amateur drivers that enter EuroNASCAR Pro. So we've got a range of bronze, silver and gold graded drivers on this particular grid. As we say, no single driver has really dominated because we have had a win at round number 1 for Loris Hazemans. Gianmarco Ercoli went back to victory lane at round number 2. Lasse Sorensen claimed the win at round number 3. Alan Day at round number 4. Stinus Longines at round number 5. So 5 different winners out of the first 5 races as the engines spring into life. And Alan Day backed it up and is so far the only driver to have won 2 times this year, with a win at Grobnik last time through. Remember, Dario Carzo will start from the pit lane, the number 8 car. So we don't have everybody assembled there on the grid. We've got 20 cars there, but one of them making it 21. You can see him there at the end of the pit lane. Dario Carzo will start, and he'll be hoping to have a good run here because Dario Carzo is a driver who's regularly at the sharp end of the Challenger Trophy action. At the moment, he's lying 4th in the Challenger Trophy standings, so he's got a bit of ground to make up over the current Challenger Trophy leader, which is Mauro Trione, his son Giovanni, having raced that car in EuroNASCAR 2 earlier on. So there is the Monster Energy-backed PK Car Sport Chevy in the hands of the double former champion Alan Day. He claimed back-to-back championships in 2017, 2018. He claimed back-to-back wins here in 2018 as well, won both of the races. Can he get his weekend off to the best possible start? The top 5 drivers in this championship are separated by 26 points. The top 6 are separated by 37. And remember, there's 40 points up for offer just in this race alone to the race winner. 35 for second, 34 for third, and so on. It diminishes by a point. And for the driver that from starting position to finishing position gains the most places, there's an extra 4 championship points available. So there's plenty to play out in this race and their second race that takes place tomorrow here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. And remember, this is only day 1 of Speed Week. We've then got the final set of 2 races, which are the double championship points races that will be coming up. And we've got the qualifying session to squeeze in for that tomorrow as well. So it's a busy weekend, 8 races in total, and 9 sessions that we'll be bringing to you live throughout the course of the weekend. So we had a little bit of rain, and that affected the race earlier on for EuroNASCAR 2. The circuit is largely dry. There are a few little damp patches here and there. There's number 18, Giorgio Maggi, who was runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2 last year, stepped up to EuroNASCAR 1, the 22-year-old Swiss driver. We've seen him out racing in China in the past, in Formula Avalon, as it's called out there. He's done a bit of ADAC racing and Formula 4 and Blancpain, European Le Mans, American Le Mans. So hugely experienced despite his tender age, still of just 22 years of age. So he's also eligible for the Junior Trophy. That's for the under-25s. All of the cars are weaving from side to try and build whatever temperature they can on this rolling lap. There's the newly liveried 99 going through, shot, which is the white and the purple and the pink car, which is in the hands of the German driver Justin Kuntz for this race. For Alan Day, he'll be fully focused on what lies ahead, which will be 18 laps of racing, nearly 73 kilometres they'll be racing for. And is he going to be the driver who can stand on the top step of the podium and make it 3 wins for the season, or can Lassie Sorensen, Gianmarco Oerkli, Loris Hazeman, Stinus Longin, or even Mark Goosens do anything about it? So we are ready to go. The black car with the light green flashes is the pole sitter. That is Alan Day. Alongside is the white and black Cal Racing car in the hands of Gianmarco Oerkli. So it's a Chevy and a EuroNASCAR FJ on the front row of the grid. It's a Ford and a Chevy on row number 2, with Loris Hazeman's behind the wheel of the number 50 car, and alongside 66, which is Lassie Sorensen. And row number 3, it's a Chevy and a Ford, the number 11 PK Car Sport Chevy of Belgian driver Stinus Longin, alongside his fellow countryman, but for Cal Racing, the Ford Mustang in the hands of the hugely experienced Mark Goosens. So, neat 2x2 order. The number 33 car there is Luca Lasset. He's a double former champion as well, the Frenchman racing for Michoud Motors. Buckle up, everybody. We're about to go green for the first time this weekend in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR Pro Division, as the cars are in 2x2 order. There's the green flag. They head over the start-finish line, and it looks as though Alan Day will have that inside line, that all-important inside line, to the first corner as they charge their way up towards Asper, turn number 1. Oerkli, I think, briefly thought he might sweep his way around the outside. There's contact a little bit further back, which I think Nicola Rocca was involved with. And also, I'm afraid to say, slithering off the road through the gravel trap goes the number 54 car, which is an enormous shame for that car, that's going to drop its way all the way down through the order. Gianmarco Oerkli, who it just got a little bit too tight, didn't it, heading in towards turn number 1, and something had to give, and unfortunately it's now meant that Alan Day has also lost the lead of the race, and Stinus Longin has picked it up and is under pressure from the car of Loris Hazeman's. Alan Day is down in, 4th or 5th place at the moment as a result of that little bit of contact there must have been between himself and Oerkli. So there's Alan Day behind Lassie Sorensen. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th place at the moment. Stinus Longin leads. Loris Hazeman 2nd. Luca Lasset up into 3rd position. What a great start for the Frenchman. Started on the 4th row of the grid in 7th position, but using all of that experience, and he's got the 41-year-old, to carve his way through whatever occurred directly ahead of him. And the 2009-2010 champion is, for the moment, holding 3rd position, Luca Lasset. He's had a 3rd place, that came at Vallelunga, his best weekend of racing so far, but since then hasn't quite gone to plan for the Frenchman. So up towards Champilleros, and then round through the flat-out turn number 13 in 3rd gear before the cars break and shift back down into 2nd for Adrian Campos, which is the final corner. And Stinus Longin, already a race winner this year, is about to head over the start-finish line. Longin lies 5th in the championship standings, 26 points off the lead, claim to win at Grobnik last time out in the first of the 2 races that we had at the weekend. But at the moment is leading the way from Loris Hazeman's. Luca Lasset there in 3rd position, but coming under pressure from Olivier Hart, who's there in 4th place. A great start from Olivier Hart as well. Remember, he's making his debut in this series. He's got lots of racing experience. Oh, Lassie Sorensen almost made contact into the rear end of Olivier Hart there and just got caught out. So Sorensen having to run wide at Dewan, which is turn number 2. Into the pit lane, I'm afraid to say, is Francisco Cini. So that is the Solaris Motorsport car that's had to dive for the pit lane. Hopefully the team will be able to work on that, but that's going to drop him well and truly down through the order. So Luca Lasset still hanging on to 3rd place. Olivier Hart doing great things, the 21-year-old. He's certainly raced big V8 engine cars before, because whilst he's raced modern machinery like European GT4, this is the number 7 Hendricks car we're talking about, who's lost out now to Alan Day, who's gone through. He's raced lots of historic cars like GT40s and Cobras and Mustangs and Camaros in the past as well. But he's just lost out to the overall championship leader, Alan Day, who is now looking to try and gain a position here. So Alan Day is up to 4th, Olivier Hart down to 5th. Quick look at the replay. There's Lassie Sorensen. I'm not sure if he just missed his braking point there. Olivier Hart was always going to take the wide line going in towards Dewan, and Lassie Sorensen just managed to avoid the contact, get the car anchored up, lost time, but thankfully no further damage. And he will have now dropped down into 6th position as a result of that. So Alan Day is the man on the mission at the moment. Big 650-metre straight coming up now, closing in on the coattails of the Michoud Motors, number 33 of Luca Lasserre that lies ahead. The Chevy should be able to sneak its way through. Luca Lasserre tries to cover off the move from Alan Day, but Day's got the inside line as they head up towards Aspar. Now, the important thing for Luca Lasserre is to make sure he closes the door to prevent Olivier Hart squeezing his way through. Olivier Hart trying to brake as late as he possibly can. The Dutchman, two wheels on the curb, just about enough room between the pair of them. Luca Lasserre gets run out a little bit wide, but he's going to squeeze Olivier Hart towards the grass on the inside of turn number 3, up towards 4. Olivier Hart then can't turn in because Lasse Sorensen is there, and from looking to gain a place, number 7, Hendrix Ford, has now lost one, I'm afraid to say. Olivier Hart down to 6th position. So all of this is just allowing Stinus Longines and Loris Hazemans to romp away in the lead of the race. There's a second separating first and second place, but the third place car is now, 3 or 4 seconds back. And that is Alan Day, who is looking to try and move his way up through the order and close in on the leading pair. Luca Lasserre is the cork in the bottle in 4th place and is at the moment being shuffled along by the number 66 car in the hands of the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion, that being Lasse Sorensen. So there goes the number 66 DF1 racing machine in the hands of Lasse Sorensen, looking to try and put Luca Lasserre under pressure, but there's no opportunity for the 23-year-old Danish driver to gain the place just as yet. Needs to be conscious as well, though, that if he tries it and it doesn't work, the number 7 Hendrix Ford of Olivier Hart is not too far away. So through Adrian Campos, running out as far as they dare onto the curbs. There were several warnings issued for track limits over the course of this weekend, but they are being monitored by race control, and penalties will be issued if drivers continually go beyond the curb line. You've got to keep a couple of wheels on the painted surface, the red and white painted surface, as Sorensen dives at the inside of Luca Lasserre, takes the place away, runs a little bit wide again coming out of the corner. Olivier Hart draws himself alongside Luca Lasserre, this time on the inside. He tried the outside last time and it didn't work. He's going to try a different move this time and is still side by side with Luca Lasserre up towards turn number 4. Has he got the inside line? They are still side by side. Luca Lasserre finally manages to hang on to the position. So 4 laps completed, or they're on lap 4 at the moment, I should say. 3 laps completed, and for Stinus Longines, he is now 2 seconds up the road from Loris Hazemans, who has got a couple of seconds in hand between himself and Alan Day, but Alan Day certainly looks as though he's brought the gap down on this lap. So the fight for second and third is beginning to brew. Loris Hazemans, the reigning champion, remember. Alan Day, a back-to-back champion. Luca Lasserre still under pressure as well from Olivier Hart, and I do wonder if maybe at this stage Luca Lasserre is struggling with that car a little bit. He's getting roughed up a little bit by Olivier Hart, who bounces into the side of the double former champion and squeezes the number 7 Hendrix Ford through and ahead. So place gained for Olivier Hart, place lost, I'm afraid to say, for Luca Lasserre, who had a good start but is now dropping back down through the order. Remember, he started 7th, got up to 3rd. I think he'll be down to 6th by the end of this lap. Quick look at the replay there you can see Olivier Hart, the tail end of the car, sliding around on the very edge of adhesion and just sort of bouncing his way into the side of Luca Lasserre. No real intent, it's just the car was on the ragged edge as such. There's the car that started from the pit lane briefly, we saw there, Dario Carzo. 4 laps now completed, on to lap number 5 as the field of cars stream their way over the start-finish line. The fight for second is almost certainly on now, because Alan Day has fully caught up with Loris Hazemans, and the gap has come down to just 0.4 of a second. That's all that there is between the pair of them as they work their way through the next of the right-handers and then start to build the speeds again down the next straight that they'll be coming up to. So there goes in towards the left-hander, Alan Day, trying to close up onto the coattails of Loris Hazemans. Is he going to be able to do a great deal about it when they get up to the next section? Well, it's not really an overtaking point there, but Alan Day looks to try and squeeze his way and take a wide run coming in towards what I think is Adrian Campos, is it? They're just coming around through, yeah, the final corner. Try to take another run there. No, it's not Adrian Campos. They've just gone through. That will be turn number 8 and turn number 9, and then up towards 10. And up the inside of 11 is a possibility, but it looks as though that's been covered off by Loris Hazemans. So the reigning champion under pressure from the double former champion and the current championship leader, remember, the number 24 Monster Energy backed PK Carsport prepared Chevy, in the hands of the Israeli driver. For the moment, Loris Hazemans is just just doing enough to hang on to second place, but all of this squabbling will just allow our race leader, Stinus Longji, to pull away further into the lead. The gap, the lead advantage, is now up to 2.1 seconds between the number 11 PK car, sport car. So over the start-finish line comes Loris Hasemans, under pressure from Alan Day, who we hear has got a drive-through penalty. He has been deemed to be the culprit for the incident at the start, Alan Day, and the championship leader might just be gaining second on the road as he dives at the inside of Loris Hasemans. But the news that we're hearing, with that tyre scrape down the side of the car you can see on the 24 car, is that he is being given a drive-through penalty for contact at the start, and that is really going to undo the hard work that he's done in this race. There's our race leader, number 11, Stinus Longji, the Belgian driver. Former EuroNASCAR 2 champion is Stinus. He claimed that championship back in, 2016. Stepped up to EuroNASCAR Pro then, and has been twice a race winner in his EuroNASCAR Pro career. Car in second place now, they're on the road, Alan Day. 22 times a race winner in EuroNASCAR Pro, but destined at some point to peel his way into the pit lane for this drive-through penalty. Since gaining a place on Loris Hasemans, the number 50 Hendricks Ford has fallen away from Alan Day, and if anything is beginning to, I would say, fall into the clutches of Lasse Sorensen. Last time through, yeah, I think the gap has come down. There is a drive-through penalty for number 24, so confirmation of the news that we were hearing, that Alan Day, the championship leader, twice a race winner so far this season, is going to have to dive for the pit lane because of the contact between himself, and I can only assume that car there, Gianmarco Ercoli, because they both started on the front row of the grid. Alan Day got away with it. Ercoli was clearly bumped off and had to recover through the gravel. And I've got to say, it's been a good recovery drive as well from the number 54 car, because you could see he was applying the pressure to the 98 there, which is the Cal Racing machine in the hands of Mark Goossens, which means that that's 7th and 8th now that they're fighting over, with Gianmarco Ercoli having almost been right at the very back of the grid. Up the inside, tries to go at Asper, can't quite squeeze his way through. Now, these two cars run out of the same garage as well. They are both Cal prepared. Now, it's Mark Goossens who will want to try and do what he can possibly do in terms of the championship standings. He's not going to make it easy for Gianmarco Ercoli, who is higher in the championship, to work his way through. He's going to have to do it on merit here, Ercoli, as Mark Goossens has got two cars that he's trying to close up on, the first of which is that car there, the number 33, and just ahead of that is Olivier Hart. So what we're looking at here is the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th positions as they head up towards Aniel Nieto, which is at the top of the hill, turn number 6, and then from there it's up to the kink at Curva de la Fission, which is taken flat out in 3rd gear, and then onto the brakes to turn number 8, which is Bernard Martinez. That's down into 2nd gear for that one. Flick up into 3rd as they then head in towards turn number 9. They'll stay in 3rd through 9, then through 10, and then you have to get on the brakes whilst you're still turning, which makes turn 11 very, very difficult indeed. Easy to snatch a brake, easy to run wide on the exit of it, and from there down the short straight and up towards turn number 12, which is the very fast right-hander at Champieros, which is taken in 3rd gear. You keep it in 3rd round through the unnamed turn number 13, which is flat out again, and then onto the brakes, down a gear into 2nd and in towards Adrian Campos, which is turn number 14, the final corner. Here comes Alan Day, so this is the championship leader in for the drive-through penalty. Needs to be careful that he doesn't break the pit lane speed limit, because we've seen that previously in EuroNASCAR. I think we saw that in some of the EuroNASCAR 2 races earlier on, where drivers suffered a double whammy, a drive-through penalty, and then sped on the drive-through penalty, and that is going to drop Alan Day all the way down through the order. So frustrating that he's got to keep it at that pit lane speed limit. He's going to rejoin way down through the order, I'm afraid to say. Now, 7th place Mark Goossens at the wheel of the Cal Racing Ford, looking to try and put the number 33 of Luca Lasser under pressure. No chink in the Frenchman's armour as yet. So two of our more experienced drivers, it's fair to say, in EuroNASCAR, slugging it out. Both of them in their 40s now. Luca Lasser, 41. Mark Goossens, I think, 51 actually nowadays, so 10 years between them. I also hear that there might be a time penalty as well being given to the car that's at the front of this queue, which is number 7, which is Olivier Hart, for a little bit of contact. So Olivier Hart, who has been impressive on his debut from what we've seen both in qualifying and in this race, but yeah, there was a little bit of contact that we saw earlier on, and clearly that's been spotted. So number 7 car is going to be given some sort of time penalty. His non-championship scoring, remember. Now, for second place, now that Alan Day has had his drive-through, that's meant that the number 66 DF1 Racing Chevy of the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion, Lasse Sorensen, can crack on. So he's now closed up onto the coattails of Loris Hazeman's in the fight for second and third places. There's the race leader over the line. You can see the gap Stinus Longines has got. The black car with the Dutch flag stripes down the centre of it. They're in second place. That's the 2 reigning champions together there. The reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion ahead of the reigning EuroNASCAR 2 champion from last year, stepping up to the higher league this year, Lasse Sorensen. And already, having claimed a win in his debut season, I think he's the only driver we've ever seen step up from EuroNASCAR 2 to the top level and claim a win in their first season of racing at the top flight. I suspect there might be another win under his belt, maybe even this weekend. So Lasse Sorensen looking to try and apply the pressure to Loris Hazeman's. Needs to just close up a shade more, not much more. Another quarter of a car length would more than do it. Half a car length would be better. We're now at the half distance lap as well, so 9 of 18 completed. We've been green all of the way so far. And as they head now in towards the braking area for what is turn number 8, Bernard Martinez start to descend downhill very slightly now, and then in towards, as we say, turn 10 and turn 11, whereas we say the car continually is turning, the steering input in and rotation all of the way round through that section, so it's very easy to, as I've said a couple of times, snatch that brake if you're not careful. Bouncing over the curbs out of Champieros and up towards turn number 13. This is the half distance lap that's about to be completed by our race leader, Stinus Longines. He'll be looking in his mirrors and be receiving the information from the spotters that the car's behind. And now Stinus Longines is slowing. The race leader all of a sudden has slowed. He's getting ever slower on the right-hand side of the circuit, and it now means that Loris Hazeman's and Lasse Sorensen are fighting for the lead of the race. Don't quite know what's happened to the PK Car Sport number 11, but that is a huge shame for Stinus Longines, lying 5th in the championship standings, only 26 points off the championship leader. And, well, he is going to struggle, I think, to take the checkered flag. So he is going to not score as many points as otherwise he would dearly have been after, and he didn't really do a great deal wrong there. This now is the battle for the lead of the race. So Loris Hazeman's has got ever more impetus now to try and grab his second victory of the season. Loris Hazeman's lies 4th in the championship standings. He's under pressure from the driver that is 2nd in the championship standings, Lasse Sorensen, both of them having claimed wins. And you only need to look at the body language of Stinus Longines, and he is not happy. I'm not surprised. He'll be bitterly disappointed. Through turn number 8, Bernard Martinez up towards 9 and then 10 come the race leading pair. Olivier Hart now, on his debut, is going to be up to 3rd position potentially, but as we say, we are hearing he's got a time penalty that's going to be applied. Might be applied after the race, as we're almost side by side for the lead. So Lasse Sorensen trying to take as wide a line as he can, leaps over the curbs through Champieros, and then as they head through the next section in towards the braking area for Adrian Campos. Again, Lasse Sorensen brakes as late as he dare. He's going to try and cut back on the exit. Is he? No, he's going to try and go all the way around the outside. More momentum on the exit of the corner. Gets pushed wide by Loris Hazeman's. Has he got the momentum as they head down the straight? Hazeman's has the inside line for Asper, which is where they're coming up to. They'll be side by side in towards turn number 1. In the background, look at what's going on between Luca Lasser, Mark Gersons and Gianmarco Ercoli as well. And they are still side by side round through turn number 1. Pure racing in EuroNASCAR. Lasse Sorensen running wide again, which he needs to be careful about. And they are still side by side at turn number 2, which is Doohan. He runs wide again coming out of that corner. They head up to 3. Guess what? Side by side, and they're going to be side by side in towards 4 as well. Eventually, Lasse Sorensen takes the lead of the race, but then runs wide on the exit of the corner. And Loris Hazeman's tries to come back. They head up towards 5. Guess what? They're side by side round through turn number 5. This is half a lap now. They've been side by side. We saw this from Alex Sedgwick and Bobby Labonte a couple of years ago, where they were side by side for 3 or 4 corners. But eventually, the pendulum swings in favour of Lasse Sorensen, who's having to defend from Loris Hazeman's, who had a better run coming out of the next corner up towards turn number 8. Bernard Martinez, they will go. And Lasse Sorensen finally looks to have, for the moment at least, cemented his place at the sharp end of the race. but for how much longer? And he also needs to be careful that he doesn't run wide on too many more occasions, otherwise he might end up with a penalty as well. You've got to keep at least one wheel on that red and white painted curb. You can run the car beyond the curb line as long as one of the tyres is on it. And a couple of occasions we've seen a few cars running wide. Sorensen picks up the lead of the race. We're on lap number 11 of the scheduled 18. Is there anything else that Loris Hazemans has got that he can throw at Lasse Sorensen? He will try absolutely everything. Sorensen, with the problems that befell Alan Day, is going to be in prime position to potentially pick up the championship lead by the time we've done the maths. Not quite sure just as yet whether he would, because we've got the non-championship scoring drivers to think about. But if Sorensen were to win this race, he would be on 240 points, whereas Alan Day at the moment, he's down in 10th position with one non-championship scoring driver behind him, so he would score 9th place. So there'd be 2 points between them, 240 for Lasse Sorensen, 242 for Alan Day, if it stays the way it is at the moment. That's the math, at least. So Lasse Sorensen having to work overtime to try and keep that DF1 Racing Chevy ahead of the Hendricks number 50 Ford in the hands of the reigning champion. Remember, these are the two reigning champions as well. Lasse won EuroNASCAR 2 last year, stepped up to EuroNASCAR Pro full-time. Loris Hazemans was the EuroNASCAR Pro champion from last year, and it just goes to show what a good breeding ground EuroNASCAR 2 is, because the champion from last year steps up to EuroNASCAR Pro, is instantly on the pace. We saw brief outings of him in EuroNASCAR Pro last year, Lasse Sorensen, but he ultimately opted to concentrate on winning the lower category championship and is now concentrating full-time in EuroNASCAR Pro for this year, and was instantly on the pace at the very first weekend at Vallelunga, where he finished in 6th position in the first race, and he was, 5th in the second race, if memory serves me correctly. So the gap first to second is still only a couple of tenths of a second, so Loris Hazemans is not particularly going away. He comes from a very long way back, brakes as late as he dare, Loris Hazemans, and then we'll try and get a good exit coming off the corner. The gap will extend just between the pair of them as Sorensen gets on the throttle that little bit quicker. Lap 12 about to be completed, onto lap number 13 they will go. So just few more laps remaining for Lasse Sorensen to soak up this pressure, and then as they flick their way through Asper and up towards the braking area for Doohan, good overtaking opportunity if you want to do it. Now for Loris Hazemans, he might just be playing the waiting game here, or just not willing to take the calculated risks that would come with trying to overtake and it not working and there being contact. So he will probably just sit behind Lasse Sorensen, I would say, and just work out, has he got a bit of extra pace somewhere that he can utilise? And if he has, that might be the catalyst for him potentially having a little nibble for the lead. But if he really thinks that it's going to be marginal, the overtake, he might just opt just to sit behind, because the one thing you can certainly do here this weekend, with it being the speed week, is ruin your championship hopes if maybe you get involved in an incident. So this is lap number 13 that we're about to conclude before too much longer. Running a little bit wide again there, coming out of turn number 8 is Lasse Sorensen, so just needs to be conscious. Black and white warning flag going out for car number 50. Now, I've seen Loris Hazemans cross the white line beyond the curb line a few times, but the black and white warning flag means that he is getting a slap on the back of the wrist in reality. Whatever he has been doing, it might be running too wide coming out of the corners, but whatever it is, it's been spotted by the race officials, and should he continue to do it, a slightly dimmer view will be taken. So it's a warning at the moment. It's a yellow card equivalent, I suppose. And that might just mean then that Loris Hazemans decides that discretion now is the better part of valour, and will just ease things off again, for fear that if he goes beyond the limits again, whatever those limits are that he's gone beyond them, yeah, he would end up with a far harsher or more draconian penalty. Luca Lasser still running in 3rd place, be a season's best for him. Mark Goosens is there in 4th place at the wheel of the number 98 car, the Daredala supported car that's prepared by Cal. And Gianmarco Ercoli, remember, he was in the gravel, wasn't he, and went almost to the very back at turn number 1. Well, the number 54 car, what a recovery drive from Gianmarco Ercoli. 5th in the standings now, and 2nd of the junior drivers, those age under 25 that we've got in the field. So a great recovery drive from him. He has now got himself ahead of Olivier Hart at the wheel of the number 7 Hendricks Ford. So he runs in 6th position. The leading challenger driver we've got at the moment is Davide Dallara, down there in 9th position. So that's the number 89 car that is leading the challenger category for drivers that are amateur in EuroNASCAR Pro. Gianmarco Werkely, having gained the place over at Olivier Hart, is not at the moment particularly pulling away, is he? So hard work done by Gianmarco Werkely. Didn't necessarily need to overtake that Hendricks Ford. Right, two more cars being shown black and white warning flags, one of which is the number 99 car of Justin Kuntz, the other of which is number 98, which is Mark Goossens. So that is now the number 50, the 98 and the 99 that are all being shown black and white warning flags with regards to their behaviour out on track, whatever that may be. I assume it is running beyond the curb lines too much. So, yeah, confirmation it is track limits is what they're being picked up on. So, as I say, you've got to keep two wheels on that red and white painted surface. If all four run up onto the green painted surface, that is beyond the track limits, is the way the regulations are written. And it was all given in the briefing to the drivers, all through the electronic briefing that is being held. There were photographs that clearly showed what was and what wasn't acceptable. In qualifying yesterday, we saw bulletins coming out that identified how many times every single car had run wide and on which corner they ran wide as well. So the drivers have been warned before this race. The warnings are being issued in this race, and I suspect that they will begin to heed them, because if penalties start getting dished out, which would be the next stage that the officials would have to deal with, and that is really going to compromise drivers if they start to pick up time penalties or maybe drive-throughs, and that's not what they wanted. What is such an important weekend, the speed week here at Valencia Circuit Ricardo Tormo. So Gianmarco Werkely in 5th place has just managed to gap a little bit more now Olivier Hart. There's the black and white warning flag being given out. Now that's another number on there. That looked like 48 to me, which would mean that that's Ander Villarino, who is now also receiving the penalty. Couldn't quite see the number, but it looked like 48. Haven't seen a great deal of the 3 times former champion in this race. So that is a car that had problems in qualifying yesterday. Engine issues for Ander Villarino meant that the car didn't really qualify and had to start from the very back of this grid. So let's see how he gets on in tomorrow's race. Remember, the fastest lap from this race gives us the grid for tomorrow as well. So whoever has set the fastest lap would start from pole for tomorrow. And looking at the way things currently stand, Alon Day has set the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 41.562. As Ines Longines has set the second fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 41.897. And those are the only two drivers in the 1 minute 41 second bracket. So that means that at the moment Alan Day would start on pole position for tomorrow's race, unless anybody else goes quicker. But at this stage of the race, with the tyres having probably had a bit of life taken out of them, I doubt we'll see any quicker lap times coming in. So Olivier Hart's just not going away. I thought Werkely had managed to gap him a little bit, but all of a sudden the number 7 Hendricks Ford is starting to come back. So Olivier Hart has been, as I say, mightily impressive on his debut in this series. So lots of historic racing experience, as well as racing at Bathurst and the European GT4 Championship. We've seen him in TCR as well in the past as Olivier Hart, but new to EuroNASCAR this weekend and hounding a driver who has won races overall this year. So with a bit more time behind the wheel, and he'll get plenty of that over the course of this weekend. It'll be interesting to see as to how far up through the order he can progress over the course of the 4 races that he's going to be involved in this weekend. So nice and neat and tidy, closing up probably another extra half a car length on Gianmarco Werkely, who had to switch cars at Grobnik last time out. There was a big accident for Ariana Castelli, who was driving the car in qualifying in EuroNASCAR 2, which meant the car was irreparable. So Gianmarco Werkely switched cars to another team for that weekend. A great deal done by Cal and Bishu Motors, I think it was, for him to switch over to keep his championship hopes alive, and he did a cracking job despite starting the weekend on the back foot. Also ought to say, get well soon Max Lancer, because he broke his wrist at Grobnik, so and just recently had some operation done on it. So get well Max, fingers crossed, see you back in EuroNASCAR in 2021. So we're now on lap number 17. The fight for what is 5th and 6th still continues. After his drive-through penalty, Alan Day is now up into 7th position. So 7th place for Alan Day on the road, but the car ahead of him, which is that number 7 Hendricks Ford, is non-championship point scoring. So that would move mathematically up to 6th in terms of championship points, Alan Day. So that would put him on 245 points. Lassie Sorensen, who still leads, would be on 240. So the gap would come down from 14 points to just 5. I've got the maths correct. I'm rather doing it on the hoof. So Workley looks pretty much under control, really, for 5th position. This is for 2nd and 3rd in the junior category as well. Both of these drivers are aged under 25 years of age. The number 54 of Gianmarco Workley, he is 25, so it's his last year in the junior category. And for the number 7 car, just 21 years of age for Olivier Hart. And if they keep squabbling the way they are, watch out for Alan Day, yeah, because that number 24 PK Car Sports Chevy is closing up, isn't it? So there goes Olivier Hart, and in the shot you might just be able to see the black and the light green car of Alan Day beginning to close up. There he goes, yeah, so he is closing up, and he's closing up with fistfuls of pace relative to the pair ahead as well. So the progress might not be done and dusted yet for Alan Day. If he gets past Olivier Hart, the number 7, it doesn't give him any additional championship points. If he gets past the 54, however, it does. So Lasse Sorensen is now on to his last lap of the race. So Lasse Sorensen up towards Asper for the final time. He has managed to put a 3-second gap between himself and Loris Hazemans, who I think once that black and white flag was shown, heeded the warning with regards to track limits, and that meant that as much as he would like to attack, he just had to stop attacking, and consolidate was going to be the key, I think, there for Loris Hazemans. Make sure that you are there or thereabouts at the end of the first 2 races of the weekend in EuroNASCAR Pro, and then really push hard for the double points races that are coming up over the course of Saturday afternoon and throughout Sunday. So for Lasse Sorensen, looks as though he is surely going to be heading towards victory lane for the 2nd time in his EuroNASCAR Pro career. It's been a neat and tidy race from him so far. He's just about to flick his way through Curva de la Afición and in towards Bernard Martinez, which is turn number 8. Circuit heads slightly downhill from there, up towards the unnamed turns numbers 9, 10 and 11. And he's got no such worries of any pressure behind. He's got no worries of any traffic he's going to catch either. And it looks as though it is going to be a hard-fought and slightly fortuitous race win for Lasse Sorensen because of the retirement of the car of Sinus Longines, who looked dominant at the time, but whatever failed on the PK Car Sports Chevy, he will be gutted with that. But I'm sure we'll bounce back tomorrow, and his lap time should see him start from the front of the grid. Lasse Sorensen turns his way through Adrian Campos for the final time. The checkered flag is being readied, and for the 2nd time in his EuroNASCAR Pro career, Lasse Sorensen heads towards victory lane. It's a win for him and the number 66 DF1 Racing Chevy. They will be as pleased as punch with that. It is going to be Luca Lasser, it shows, in 2nd place. Right, no, Loris Hazemans does come through on shot. I think his transponder stopped working. Loris Hazemans is indeed in 2nd position on the road. Luca Lasser finishes in 3rd place. Mark Goossens in 4th place. Gianmarco Workley in 5th, and Olivier Hart on his debut. What a result for him, 6th place. Lasse Sorensen not only claims the overall win, but also claims the junior win as well for the first of the drivers home, aged under 25. And the Challenger Trophy win, which is for amateur drivers that race in this category, that's gone the way of the car that finished in 10th position, which is the number 89, not only Motorsport Chevrolet Camaro of the Italian driver Davide Dallara. So that picks up as to who the various category winners are. So for Lasse Sorensen, that win sees him now head on to 240 points in the championship. For Alan Day, 6th on the road, but there is one non-championship scoring driver ahead of him. 7th on the road, but there is one non-championship scoring driver ahead of him, so he will net the points for 6th position overall, which means that he will finish today on 245 points. He will still be leading the championship, but his lead margin has been whittled down to just 5 points from 14 points. So it is still Alan Day, and he will be hoping that he can maybe not have the issue he had in this race with that drive-through penalty. Oh, what could have been, really, because he certainly seemed to have the pace. He has set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:41.562, was not bettered by anybody after we'd picked up on that. So it looks as though Alan Day will start the race tomorrow in EuroNASCAR Pro from pole position. Alongside will be Sinus Longines, and row 2 of the grid. Just having a look through the various times they've set, looks as though it is going to be Lasse Sorensen, number 66, who did a 1:42.03, from Loris Hazemans, who did a 1:42.08. So Lasse Sorensen 3rd on the grid, Loris Hazemans 4th, I think, is the way, subject to official confirmation, they will line up tomorrow. But the grid will only be issued once the results have been finalised. So it's all subject to, as ever, official confirmation. Mark Goossens drives alongside Lasse Sorensen and gives him the thumbs up. He'll be pleased with his result as well. That's a 4th position for Mark Goossens, which means that is what, second, a third, and a couple of 4ths he's had so far this year, plus another top 10 finish as well for Mark Goossens. So he'll be pleased with that. And congratulations to Luca Lasser as well, who returns to the overall podium as well, the Frenchman, the double former champion, for the first time since Vallelunga, where he finished in 3rd position in the second of the 2 races that we had there on our first ever trip to Vallelunga circuit just outside of Rome for the Italian NASCAR Grand Prix. So in towards victory lane comes Lasse Sorensen. He claimed to win in the first of the 2 races at Zolder in Belgium, and he returns to victory lane here. An important win for him because it moves him closer to the overall championship leader, Alan Day. He was lying 2nd in the championship standings prior to that 18-lap race. He still remains 2nd in the championship standing, but the gap reduces from 14 points down to just 5. So Lasse Sorensen is given the thumbs up. He's allowed to extract himself out of the immaculately prepared DF1 Racing Chevy, and he is going to be as pleased as punch with that. Onto the roof of the car. Take it steady, Lassie. There we go. Big smile all round from Lasse Sorensen. He is pleased with that one, and it is going to be his first ever race, remember, here at Riccardo Tormo, because he was racing in EuroNASCAR 2 last year, but he didn't compete in the first 2 races at Valencia. He still won the championship despite that. There's Norbert just giving him a big, big hug. He will be absolutely delighted with that. Norbert will be busy on social media, as ever, posting about the success of the team. And the team have just done so well last year and this year, and are running so many cars and so many drivers, all of whom are operating at the runs. And what a great car they put together. So Lassie, congratulating the rest of the team and the mechanics. And then once we get the crash helmet off, we'll be able to grab a quick word with Lasse Sorensen, who is a very, very likeable young man. Gentle giant, really. He's a tall chap. He's very quietly spoken. He's very methodical and is, well, unbelievably quick behind a car, as we saw throughout the course of the 2019 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series championship season, where certainly at one of the races, it was a grand catch. He started at the back of the grid after problems in qualifying, came through and won it, overtook everybody, took the win to the back of the grid. And that was always the sign of a champion. So there we go. That's probably the most important hug that he needs to give. And then off will come the head and neck support, hands device. Off will come the crash helmet and the balaclava. Out will come the earplugs. On will go the mask, an extra thing that we need to do, of course, in 2020. And then we'll be able to grab a word with a 2-times race winner, Lasse Sorensen, and a man who moves closer towards the overall championship leader, Alan Day. He's down there in victory lane with Andre.
Lasse Sorensen, what an eventful race and a big step towards the big championship ring at the end of the season. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's always good with a win. A huge thanks to the team. The car, we had a big problem in qualifying yesterday, and all the mechanics in the team did a great job to make sure the car was running. So we had good speed in the race, losing a bit of power from the engine, but the setup is good. So I'm sure the 66 Triatile Camaro is gonna fight hard in the second race tomorrow.
So, do you think that you can dream of the big trophy right now after the win here in Valencia?
No, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm doing the best I can for this weekend, and then we see up in the end where we are.
Thank you very much. You're your NASCAR Pro winner, Lasse Sorensen.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, so a big thumbs up from Lasse Sorensen. He has completed his interview down there in victory lane, but he'll head up onto the podium for our socially distanced podiums. They will all take place offline. But do stay in touch with us via social media, because there will be some more content coming out on social media. And why not also subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/EuroNASCAR, and click to ensure that you're notified when we issue new content. Confirmation then of the results then at this stage. The win goes the way of Lasse Sorensen. He also picks up the win in the junior trophy. Second was Loris Hazemans, and third was Luca Lasser. Fourth place goes the way of Mark Goossens, as we see the replay of the checkered flag flying for Lasse Sorensen, claiming his second career win in EuroNASCAR Pro. It's no wonder he's delighted with that. As we say, it moves him closer to the overall title. And after Luca Lasser in third place, it was Mark Goossens in fourth, with Gianmarco Ercoli in fifth. And rounding out the top six was Olivier Hart. Another quick replay. This was how Lasse Sorensen managed to at least initially draw himself alongside Loris Hasemans. The two of them were absolutely side by side, weren't they? Heading out of turn number 14, Adrian Campos. Through the second phase, it looked as though Loris Hasemans was going to get him back. They had a couple of corners together through Aspar. They were then absolutely together heading out of Duin, which is turn number 2, got towards turn number 3. They were still side by side, and eventually it was at turn number 4 where Sorensen snatched the brake on the way in and was just about to hold on to it on the way out until he tried to turn into turn number 5, and all of a sudden, what's there? It is Loris Hasemans. So they head up towards turn number 6, which is now halfway around this 4-kilometre circuit. And eventually, the 66 car goes ahead. What a great battle it was between the pair of them. After Olivier Hart in 6th place, Alan Day finished in 7th place. Justin Coutts was 8th. 9th was Giorgio Maggi. And the leading challenger car home, Davide Dallara, completed the top 10. Mauro Trioni was 11th, head of Dario Carzo from the pit lane, finished in 12th place. Alberto Panebianco was 13th on his debut, ahead of Yevgen Sokolovsky. Nicola Rocca had problems and tumbled down through the order to finish in 15th position. Francesco Sini, we saw in the pits, he finished in 16th place, and there were problems for Patrick Lamery, for Stinis Longin, and for Ander Villarino, who finished in 17th, 18th and 19th positions respectively. Well, don't go too far away, because we've still got another race coming up today. Remember, this is Super Speed Week, so a little bit different to we used to. We usually just have 2 races a day. On the Saturday, 2 races on the Sunday, 1 for each division, but we've got 8 races to cram in over the next 3 days, which means that we've got 1 more race to come today. That is going to be round 8 of the championship for the EuroNASCAR 2 division. The stream for that is scheduled to go live, if you're watching in Central Europe, 15:55 Central European time. If you're watching over in the States, thanks for joining us for this one. 9:55 Eastern time in the US is when we will be back live. So from everybody here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, just outside of Valencia, don't go anywhere. Rejoin us a bit later on. But from all of the EuroNASCAR team, in the meantime, it's goodbye.